Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for joining us today on Beyond the Frame. I'm Jay Nephew. I'll be your host for this afternoon's little show that we've got put together for you. And today we're talking about league bowling and competitive play, actually. And with me, I have a very special guest all the way from Sandusky, Ohio, owner and operator of Twin Star Entertainment Centers that includes both Sandusky Star Lanes and Star Lanes at the Harbor in Port Clinton, Ohio. Please give us a nice welcome to Jeff Lizzi. Thank you for joining us, Jeff.
Thanks for having me.
Jeff, you were a good person to have on here because you've got a superstar wife. You're a superstar yourself from the PBA tour, and you are one of the most competitive players that I remember, watching and being friends with for so long. Like, you were always in it to win it. So competitive bowling, it's no shock that you've now owned your own centers and offer and show that product off and take care of your customers the way you do. So tell us a little bit about what's been going on with your bowling centers while you've been closed, for example.
Well, my brother and I purchased our second center in Port Clinton, which is about a half an hour away. Smaller town, 24 lanes. So we actually took 8 lanes out and put laser tag arcade and
nice.
Our DIYers too. So we do a lot of that stuff ourselves.
Beautiful.
We still are doing right now. So we're in the midst of a full renovation over there. So we've been busy with that. All of our leagues in that center chose to not bowl once this COVID hit. In our Sandusky Center, the day after we open, leagues are back on the floor. A couple of our morning leagues, we have one tonight. A bigger league on Thursday nights, I think we're going to choose not to because we have a lot of added money in it and make it. So I didn't think that it was fair to exclude them on being able to make more money. So,
Sure. And I think we talked about this too. I had to do the same thing to my big league. We just decided to pull the plug on it and stop it wherever it was. I didn't think it was fair. People sign up for a league with an expectation of bowling from X time to X time, and to ask them to come back. And if you have teams that just are not able to bowl for whatever reason, I agree with you. I don't think it's fair to kind of force them to bowl. So I think the right decision is probably to end it and just start a new one.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we took a lot of votes, a lot of input, and we just want to do what's best for our bowlers. We want to keep them happy. We want to keep them coming back. And I think that, for the main part right now is we're going to focus on our fall and winter leagues coming up and start that season. Like my brother and I really thought that we would, hit hard in August because Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio, Cedar Point and Port Clinton are both really touristy. We're
for sure.
Amusement park, so we're not quite as busy with locals anyway as we would, with tourists and whatnot. With Cedar Point not opening this year, or they're probably going to open late if they do, we just kind of had in the back of our minds that we would probably start in August, but we're still going to open up for some of our local bowlers, but just not on a full-time basis.
Okay, and you have a league that's actually coming back to finish, and they're going to bowl 6 more weeks, correct?
Tonight. They start tonight, and they're going to bowl 6 more weeks to finish that. And so
beautiful.
I love the fact, like, I get so many messages, texts, and calls. When are you going to open? When are you going to open? So you got that, like you said, that diehard bowler that just wants to bowl no matter what. So I love that, and my customers that they don't just put bowl in the background. They still want to do it. So
no, they for sure do. Our diehards, especially in my neck of the woods in South Texas here, they're ready. And as proof, I think in Dallas we had one, in San Antonio there was one, in Amarillo there was one. 3 tournaments in the past couple weekends, and all of them sold out.
Yep.
Waxahachie, he had one there. None of them doing the social distancing as far as limiting of people per pair, except for the format, like the one he agreed to only have 4 on a pair, 6 on a pair for the other ones.
Exactly.
But beyond that, it's up to the customer. So what is the temperature like there for you guys with it when it comes to that? Are you planning on using some of the USBC guideline changes that they're allowing you to have, or do you feel you don't need to take advantage of those for your league?
Well, we try to do the best we can as far as like every other pair. Like tonight, it'll be every other pair distancing.
Okay.
We didn't really choose to, my personal opinion, putting a team on every pair versus bowling opposed every other pair. It's kind of the same thing because you have enough social distancing in the back,
right?
Sitting in the concourse. When you're bowling, you're never close to 6 feet.
Right.
Anybody. So the bowling part of it doesn't bother me as much as I want my customers to be comfortable, with the seating and stuff. And I think we have enough room to keep them doing that. And, we don't make them wear masks, but of course, all of our workers they wear masks and gloves.
Okay.
If our customers choose to wear masks, that's up to them, and try to keep everything clean.
Well, that's all you can do in the long run, right? So
Yep.
your league, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought here. What I wanted to ask you was did you have to share a plan for reopen with any state or local officials before you were allowed to? Or did they give you guidelines and say, at least follow this minimum and you can open?
Just our guideline from our BCAO, more than like we'll talk to the health department. I'm sure they'll stop in, and we've been in touch with them on the guidelines and going and kind of following what, under the restaurant, bar, entertainment.
Right.
We have a lot to follow. So we're just trying to do the best we can with that.
Sure. There's a lot of leaders that have been open for 2, 3, 4 weeks now with this new environment, and they've learned a lot along the way. As you may have watched, we've had some of those guests on our past shows. So, I'm excited to see that you didn't have to jump through too many hoops to get open, but you were given some regulations. And I agree with you. Putting 2 teams on a pair and leaving the pair blank between them, the one team can migrate to the blank pair and spread out. That works beautifully. And I agree. For competitive bowling, I don't want to bowl my game on this pair and you guys bowl your game on that pair, because we know the deal. I'm going to pick the best pair if I can. And there's always a better pair for some reason.
Yep. Well, you talking about bowling action, or you talk about bowling league?
All of that. It all comes into play. The pins fall no differently when it's for money or for fun, trust me.
Exactly.
Except they don't really fall for money easily. That's the way we found out.
I remember those days.
I remember those days too. And
I'll bowl you for $100 on this pair, but I'll bowl you for $1,000 on that pair.
On that pair. Yeah, absolutely. Especially at places like the Showboat. I mean, those were the days, and the high roller days even when they went, were at the Showboat, and then they moved to Sam's Town. Even those lanes there's still great pairs there, to this day.
Yeah.
So it's no matter where you have your event, there's always going to be that advantage if you're smart enough to watch for it, I guess.
Exactly.
The interesting thing with bringing back competitive and league play, we really believe that this is the first segment of customer that really wants to come back. They're ready to come back. They're not fearful of it. They have their own equipment, so they're less likely to worry about touching the bowling balls and things of that nature. But the interesting thing about it is that, there's so many variables, like the building layout and the space that you have available for the non-bowlers to sit and watch, or when they're not bowling to sit and watch, the proximity of the tables to the common areas. What other local, regional, or state guidelines do you have to follow that maybe some other areas don't have to follow? We're finding some owner operators are mandated to take temp.
Yeah. Are you there, Jay? You froze. If you can hear me, I hope you can hear me. I think we're having some technical difficulties. I'll just wait. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but I want to wish my daughter, Olivia, today is her 12th birthday. So I want to wish her a happy birthday. I hope everybody else is well and safe and enjoying this opening of our country. So I hope all is going well with everybody.
Okay, I'm back.
I don't know if they could hear me or not, but I just kept on rambling.
Okay, I'm not sure. We'll find out. I apologize. We have internet issues once again here. I don't believe. There we go. We've got some people online that are saying hello. Scott McLaughlin, Chrissy Kent, Sean Dalton, Dottie, and Rosa are both there. Stephanie
Hello,
Parker's
everybody.
there too. Everybody, yeah.
Awesome.
And today's a special day for someone in your family, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's my daughter, Olivia. It's her 12th birthday today. And I want to wish her a happy birthday. She's so excited. She fell asleep last night at 4 o'clock in the morning.
She wanted to stay up to turn 12, right?
Yes. So my wife couldn't get all of her gifts out until 5 o'clock in the morning. So it was
So you guys are a little bit
morning,
tired.
but she's so happy. We're taking her out to dinner with a couple of her friends and a couple of, our family members. So it's going to be a good night.
Awesome. Well, tell her we all wish her happy birthday. Let's get back to this competitive play here. I know the PBA is not back yet, right?
Right.
They're not. They're still planning when they're going to. Well, there is going to be that one event, the Strike Fest, that they're going to show, but they haven't started back on a regular schedule yet. Do you think? And this is just off the top of your head. I know we don't know what their plans are, but do you think that they're going to be setting sort of standards that are going to be adopted by the industry?
That's going to be that's a good question. I mean, the way they format, like you said earlier on, you get these tournaments that we used to bowl US Opens, or we used to bowl some of those tournaments with, 6 or 8 on a pair.
Right. Well, 8 on a pair was brutal.
Yeah. I'm wondering what some of those guidelines are going to be, if they're going to have limited entries, or going to have more squads.
Mm. And, the paddock, how do you social distance in there? There's already the smallest room in the world to fit every bowling ball known to man in. Yeah. Do you have to stand in line to wait to go in? I mean, so that's going to be a concern for these types of events.
I know that the PBA made most of their money at the gate.
So right. From spectators.
Are they going to be allowed to, if at all, they're going to spectators, or is it just going to all be,
Well, it'll be interesting. I know that a lot of our high level players, they always gravitate towards the PBA and the PWBA for guidance, and they emulate what they see and what the formats and stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's the way it should be. First of all, they're the professional entity of our sport. So, but I'm just curious as to if they know the impact they might have on the industry with their decisions, and I think that I'm sure that Coley and the people there are going to make the right decisions for them, and we'll see how they play out for us. But
that'll be nice. I mean, I think getting them back will help our sport out, just because I think they do have a very good following, and a lot of I know my customers follow it and watch it religiously. So that
absolutely. Have you seen any other centers in your area executing any kind of tournaments or leagues so far besides yourself?
It's funny that you say that. Plaza Lanes in Fremont, which is about 35 minutes away, Jordan Road is the president of our BCAO, and at 12:01 on Monday night, which was Tuesday morning, which we could open, he held a tournament, and I think he was close to filling it.
Was that the Midnight Bowlers?
Yes.
Yes, I saw that on Facebook. That was one of the ones I was talking about. It was sold out, I think.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. Some of my bowlers went over there, and there's just a good group of bowlers around this area. So I was very happy to see that. I mean, people were just kind of, itching to go bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a good job, I heard, and ran a good event. So.
Well, that's always a good sign when the competitive players are ready to come back. I think the casual players are right behind them, and they're going to pave the way for that. Your wife is a superstar in her own right. We're both on the lanes and selling the lanes, we'll say, now that she is an employee and a member of the Cubica AMS staff. So what kind of words of advice and hope would you give our listeners right now who are looking at this and they're thinking maybe bowling isn't what it's going to be, isn't going to be what it used to be after this is all done? Because I think you might think differently, and I know I do too. So what are your words of advice or hope for that mindset?
I do think a little bit differently. I'm probably more optimistic. I think that although this is going to change the way of life in a better way, I think just, for health reasons and keeping everything clean and mainly making people more aware of what's going on. I don't think it'll be too long to where we are back to somewhat normal.
Right.
It's going to be every other pair. I don't think it's going to be that you're living in a bubble for that long, but I agree with everything that they're trying to do, because taking the safe route out just saves lives and keeps everybody more healthy. But I don't think it's going to be that long to where the way of life is going to be, after 9/11, things changed so much and now it's the norm.
Right.
So I think this is kind of going to be the same thing where people are just going to get used to what they're seeing, used to what they're doing, be a little bit more aware, like I said, of their surroundings and just keeping themselves clean and healthy and everybody around them. So.
Good. Well, and if there's one thing that bowlers in general, or the bowling industry is, it's resilient and it is adaptable. So they're gonna figure it out no matter what, and they're gonna come back as strong as they were before. Might look a little differently. Like you said, you might see masks, you might see less numbers per pair, whatever that may be, or what it turns out to be. But we will be back strong for sure.
For sure. I think so too.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Jeff. I appreciate you taking time with us today. We have a whole wealth, Cubica AMF has a whole wealth of resources available on our website, cubicaamf.com/support. And when you go to that page on our website, you're going to see links for things like the BPAA, things like IAPA, things like the Small Business Association. We've got all the resources covered for you, and also the things that we've created, like the reopening marketing kit. If you haven't picked up that yet and started to use it, and you're a bowling center or an entertainment facility, there's some stuff in there. You don't have to worry about reinventing the wheel. You need signage saying it's sanitized, already made for you. You need floor decals, already made for you. So download that kit, it's free, and use what you need out of there to make it easier to get yourself back up and running. And then, of course, join us here on Beyond the Frame. Every week we try to do at least one show, sometimes two. This week, this might be our only show this week, so you might not see us on Thursday. But tomorrow, for sure, we've got our webinar called League Bowling Part 2, and it's going to have a panel of Pat Sinello, John Lucido, and Brian King. You've seen those people with us before. They're coming back to discuss, Part 2 of the league topic. And that'll be tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. If you need a link to register, just scroll down on our Beyond the Facebook page. You'll see that we posted a link to it there. Mr. Lizzi, Jeff Lizzi, on behalf of Cubica AMF, I say thank you for your time today, and thank you for your thoughts. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. And anytime you want to get me on the tube, just give me a call.
Well, I'm sure I'll use you. I'd love to have you as another guest. We'll have to think of a really good topic, though, for sure.
Okay.
And we'll get Kathy in on it, too.
All right.
All right. On behalf of Cubica AMF, I'm Jay Nephew, and this is goodbye for now. From Jeff Lizzi and myself, have a great week, guys.
Bye.
Take care.